Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another exciting afternoon of Chem 170 with your host, me, Dr. White. Actually, today's the last lecture of the semester, summer 2022. And let me remind you, tomorrow will be the final exam. I'll send out a password at 2 p.m. We will not have a lecture. And yep, Jimmy, it's last lecture. This summer went boom. But anyways, I'll send out the password at 2 p.m. We will not have a lecture. You should be taking the final. I expect the final to be uploaded by 11 a.m. on Friday. No late exceptions. You have to get it on time. And I'll probably put it in the email that if it's not, I reserve the right to subtract 50 up to 50 points from your test score. So be on time. And normally when it's face-to-face, students take about an hour, 15, hour and a half. I give them 3, you get 3 hours. That's taking the test, not time to scan and upload it. And the final will have 32 problems, 18 pages, never multiple choice, but multiple part. The points break down, 30 points for general knowledge, excuse me, 62 points for nomenclature, 118 reactions. And if you break it down by test, 35 points for our material on test 1, 60 test 2, 58 test 3 material, test 4 material 53, and 4 points are new material proteins. And this adds up to 210, so there's 10 bonus points. And as I say here, there'll be no meeting tomorrow because you'll be doing your final. All right, I will post the grades by and your test scores, everything else by Sunday, 3 p.m., if not earlier, on D2L. At that time, I'll send out an announcement that your grade and all the points, including your final exam, will be available. Now, what I will not do for the final exam, which I don't do face-to-face either, is I will not send out an email with your individual points. However, if you're within about 10 or 15 points of a cutoff, I automatically go back and regrade your whole final exam to make sure I've done it correctly. Now, the lab we did on Monday, get that in as soon as possible. Get everything in by Friday, so I want to get the grades done. And if you haven't gotten in, I'll start putting in zeros for your lab. So get the labs done. All right, what I'd like to do next is go through test number 4 answers. I'll be cutting it out of the video, but for those of you here, you get to see it. All right, now, if I were in your shoes, and the answer is yes, we can. All right, what do we have? We have a triglyceride, acid, and water. Get back the alcohol plus the carboxylic acid you would have used to make that ester. Ester number 1 gives this hydroxy group plus stearic acid. Ester number, or actually would give oleic acid. Ester number 2 gives this alcohol plus stearic acid. Ester number 3 gives this alcohol, and again, oleic acid, but I don't ask you to balance them, and therefore you get glycerin, oleic acid, and stearic acid. Does that answer your question? You're welcome. All right, any more questions on test number 4, which I'm going to cut out the video, All right. Now, if I were in your shoes, I'd want to know what kind of score do I need on the final to get the grade I want? Now, what I'm going to show you assumes you've handed in all of your labs. What I'm going to show you either today or by tomorrow, you've handed in all your labs. If you did that, the labs I didn't grade. Now, let's take this number, X. Now, I haven't graded any yet. I'm going to be busy the next couple of days. Trust me, I'm going to be busy because my other class, I'm giving a test plus the final here, your last grades, and also the extra credit, which is due today. Now, let's assume X equals the three or four highest test scores, your test score total. By the way, that number is in D2L. I uploaded it yesterday. And I haven't done the extra credit, but let's assume if you did, you added in. If not, then it's just the three highest test scores. To get an A, you need X minus 450 minus X points on the final to get an A. That's assuming you've handed in all your labs. To get a B, that would be 400 minus X, which would be the points you need on the final exam. To get a C, 350 minus X, and a D would be, I hope nobody's in that range. But this is predicated, you've handed in all your labs. If you haven't, all bets are off. That's pretty accurate. But let me just show you something. Let's assume you got 100 on each test. So that's 300. To get an A, you'd say, oh, I only need 150 points out of 220 to get an A. No, the final grade is not on a curve. The final grade, and I'll show you that in a second. Nana, I think I'm pronouncing it not, correct me. But anyways, this is the same as divide this number by 2, a 75 on an hour exam. And I've had students who've said, oh, well, I don't have to study hard. And they don't. And they get a lower number than 150, and they lose a whole letter grade than what they should have been able to do. If you use this formula and say, oh, I don't need a lot of points for the grade I want, don't think that way. Study for tomorrow's final like you need every point you can get. Because I've seen students, and have more than once, they get complacent, think, oh, I don't need that many points. They don't study, they do bad in the final, and it hurts their final grade, which is not a good thing. The answer is no. Whoa, what was that? The answer is no, it hasn't. I'll be grading the labs the next couple of days. This has been busy between both, just to get yesterday's test done and some other stuff with the other class. I didn't finish working until about 9:30 last night. I left my house, and I actually was teaching yesterday morning from 9. So essentially from 7 in the morning till 9:30 at night, I was working or driving or eating lunch or dinner, which wasn't that long. So that's why it hasn't been graded. All right, now, let me open up something. To answer a question one of your colleagues just asked about is the final grade curve. Does everybody see grading summary on your screen? Thumbs up, people. All right, thank you, Jimmy. Here's the percentage, the actual final. And this is what does take into account your lab total, 3 highest test scores, final exam, lab points, and if you did the extra credit, times 100 divided by 632, you'll get a percentage. If your grade is 90, percentage is 90 or higher, you get an A. 80 to 89 B, 70 79 C, 60 69 D, below 60 F. And I've been doing this for years, and students do very good in my course if they've studied and done the practice problems. All right, any questions? All right, let me do one thing. We'll take a break. I'll come back and I want to talk about a few things you should know for tomorrow. Hint. And then I have a special surprise for you. Actually, I'll do it real live. All right, you should know, leaving my class, how does soap work? You should know the structure of soap. Non-polar tail, and a polar head. When we clean our hands or whatever, we're going to use water, and that's polar. Remember, you did that lab like dissolves light. Dirt and grease are non-polar. Oops. The most important piece of the puzzle, how soap works. Like dissolves like. Let's try that arrow again. That's the most important piece of the puzzle. Now, dirt, if you had a little piece on your hand, will attract the non-polar tail of soap because like dissolves like. And you use a lot more than one molecule of soap. And the polar head wants to be as far away from the dirt. We call this a micelle. And the micelle has the polar heads totally surrounding on the outside the dirt. And a micelle looks polar to water, and water looks at the micelle and says, oh, you're polar, I'm polar, let's go down the drain together. And they do, and that's how you get your hands clean. So you should know, how does soap work? Soap has a nonpolar tail, polar head. Water is polar. Dirt and grease are nonpolar. The most important thing, and I took off 2 points if you didn't write like dissolves like on that 6-point problem because it's so important. Like dissolves like is the key to the puzzle. Here's a micelle. Dirt, since it's nonpolar, attracts the nonpolar tail of soap. The polar head stays as far away as possible. It surrounds it. Water only sees the polar heads of soap and says to the micelle, oh, you're polar, I'm polar, let's go down the drain together. And they do. And you should know this. Looking at the clock, let me spend, hold on 1 second while I do this. I can see you. Did I talk about Barkeeper's Friend here? Give me a thumbs up if I talked about Barkeeper's Friend. All right, let me spend a couple minutes. This will not be on test, but let me just close something. All right, one of the worst jobs for me, the worst job in my house is cleaning the bathtub with all the bathtub scum. And the bathtub scum is carboxylate anions of calcium. And because of molecular weight, this is bathtub scum, this soap or salt, carboxylate salt. And theoretically, if you add acid to this, you should be able to break it up. It's a smaller carboxylic acid. And this becomes, depending what the anion is, this. And how do you do that? Well, vinegar has acid in it, acetic acid, but it's weak. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And I had, this is a number of years ago, and there's a product. Everybody see the gold can on Barkeeper's Friend right here on your screen? You can buy it just about anywhere. And this is a mixture of soap and oxalic acid that's a solid diacid that's in a higher concentration than the acetic acid in vinegar. Now, what I do is wash down my walls in the bathtub and walls, the inside, the bathtub and the walls around with warm or hot water, sprinkle this on and rub it with a paper towel to make a paste. Let it sit 10 minutes and then it will either wash off, or if it's really heavy, you know, the 3M green pad, cut those first in quarters because that makes it last longer. And all you got to do is with a little water and a little Barkeeper's Friend, rub like that. And what used to take me 45 minutes to clean, my actual time is in about, I'd say 6 or 7 minutes if I've let it go a couple of months, which sometimes I've done. So to clean your bathtub and other things too, Barkeeper's Friend works great on frying pans and baking pans. You heat it, put some hot water, dump it, put some in there, make a paste, let it sit 5 minutes. And with a green scouring pad, the worst things come off like that. With that, I think I'm going to take a break Why don't we come back at 2:56? In 5 minutes, come back, and I'm gonna go over a couple of things that'll help you tomorrow. Come back in 5. come back. One more story, and then we'll go through a couple important things you should know, and then I'll have a surprise for you. All right. When I bought this house a long time ago, I moved in, and went about 2 or 3 weeks, my kitchen sink clogged up. So I got our new house, called up the Roto-Rooter guy, came out, Roto-Rooted it, and it was working. And within a couple of days, it clogged up again. I don't throw any grease or anything down the sink, never. I collect it in a baggie, goes in my garbage to landfill, not to clog up my sink. And it clogged up again. And I figured, well, the previous owner, who knows what they dumped down there, but it's causing a problem. So he comes out again because it was under warranty. It had only been a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. And he apologized, did it again. And within a week or two, boom, again. And the money that wasn't the problem. I was working at a chemical company as a manager, and I'm wasting time where I should be at work. I had stuff to do. Well, anyways, he came out again the third time, said, I'm going to put this stuff in. He had this bottle with some liquid. I said, can I see it? I looked at the label, and I saw it was some puny surfactants and soap. Ain't going to do it. He put it in there and Roto-Rooted it, and it worked. And within a week or so, clogged up again. I said, that's a lost cause. So I went to my local Home Depot. And what's clogging up that drain? Well, in the kitchen, fat and oil. And grease, really, grease. And that's triglyceride. And acid or base and water will break it up. Saponification of an ester or acid hydrolysis of an ester. So there's this big wall from floor to about my head. I'm 6 foot, or on some days I'm 5'12". And this bottles and different brands. And I pick up a couple and I see acid, because I'm a chemist, organic chemist. I know these things. And a nice gentleman who works there in that section comes up to me. Can I help you? I said, yeah, I'm looking for a drain cleaner. Got a question for you. He said, what? All these drain cleaners, which one do the plumbers buy? And immediately, that quick, he points to this one. And it's in this black bottle, plastic bottle, in a Ziploc heavy plastic bag. On the bag, it has red letters, wear eye protection when using. So I pick it up, look at the back, and it's got sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. I said, oh, that's got base in there. And the others all had acid. He said, no, that's an acid too. I said, sir, I have a PhD in synthetic organic chemistry. I think I know an acid from a base. He said, no, that's an acid. I figured, why am I arguing acids and bases with someone in Home Depot when, guess what? He's helping me. I thanked him, took it home, and it worked. And what was the product that worked? And over the years, my family has used it, friends and students. And let's go to Home Depot. I think they have it other places now, but I'm not sure. And it's got a really complex name. It's called Hair and Grease Drain Opener. And it's this stuff, it's made by Instant Power. I always remember this Hair and Grease. And it's the only one that's bottle like this in all Home Depot. It's the only one that's black like this. And I keep a bottle, and I did it then. It lasted, oh, good 12, 14 years before I had to do it again. And this will help you with cleaning out your drain. Now, in the kitchen, your bathroom, what clogs up here, your tub or your sink in the bathroom? Here is a protein, amide. And guess what? Acid and base will break that down. And this stuff works better than the acid. And follow directions. It says wear eye protection, I do. since it's a dangerous chemical, I either wear a long sleeve top in case something splatters or a lab coat. Never had a problem with it. Nobody else, I've always warned them, you know, play safe, wear proper protection, and they've never had problems. And I've had many students use this. So if you ever have a drain, either in your kitchen or in your bathroom clog up, this is the stuff to buy. I keep a bottle for emergencies in my house. I think after living here more than 20 years, I finally had to do my upstairs bathroom sink and clean it out, put it in there like brand new. All right, what I like to do now, I've already gone through soap. You should know how soap works. Next, I'd like to go through 3 things you should know leaving my class. The first one is you should be able to describe with words and a general reaction when you eat a fat or oil, something in it. And what's the functional group in a fat or oil? Ester. In your stomach, there's acid and water. So it's acid hydrolysis of an ester. And the general reaction is, and you learned this for test 3, ester, acid, water. And what do you get? You get the alcohol plus the carboxylic acid you would have used to make that ester. So you should know how to describe with words and a general reaction when you eat a fat or oil. And that's acid hydrolysis of an ester. Next, if you eat a carbohydrate, and here, what's the functional group holding glucose together in carbohydrates like starch and acetal? So that's acid hydrolysis of an acetal. That's how you describe it with words. What's the general reaction? You learned for test number 2. And actually it was also on test 4. If you have an acetal or ketal, acid or water, what do you get? You get back the ketone or aldehyde plus the alcohol you would have used to make this acetal or ketal. So when you eat a carbohydrate, the functional group that holds together glucose is an acetal, acid and water, acid hydrolysis of an acetal. The general reaction, acetal or ketal, acid and water, get back the aldehyde or ketone, the alcohol you would have used to make that acetal or ketal. And finally, if you eat a protein, and what's the functional group in a protein that holds amino acids together? An amide. And because in your stomach there's acid and water, it's acid hydrolysis of an amide. And what's the general reaction? You learn for test number 3, amide, acid, and we'll have HCl because that's the acid in your stomach, you get back the carboxylic acid plus not the amine, but the amine salt of the amine you would have used to make that amide. Remember, for a protein, the functional group that's key in there is an amide. And you should know these three reactions. Let's go through it again. If you eat a fat or oil, what's the functional group in a fat or oil? Ester. And how do you describe what happens in your stomach with words and a general reaction? Acid hydrolysis of an ester. You have an ester, acid, water, get back the alcohol plus the carboxylic acid you would have used to make that ester. You eat a carbohydrate, what's holding glucose together and starch? And that is acid hydrolysis of an acetal. And test 2, you learn acetal, acid and water, get back the ketone or aldehyde plus the alcohol you would have used to make that acetal or ketal. And finally, when you eat a protein, how do you describe with words and a general reaction what happens when you eat a protein? What's the functional group that holds amino acids together? An amide. And in your stomach, there's acid hydrolysis of an amide. And in test 3, you learn amide plus acid and water, get back the carboxylic acid you would have used to make that amide plus the amine salt of the amine you would have used to make that amide. Now, some advice on the tests. One of the problems students had was with Grignard reactions. And Dr. White loves Grignard reactions. And I went through those the last couple of days. Go back and look at the video or look at your notes. Any reaction, ketone or aldehyde or ester with a Grignard. Also look at mi-acetal, mi-ketal formation and hydrolysis. I went through that the last couple of days, but go back and look at your tests. The best way to prepare for my final is to use your hourly exams as practice problems and go back and look at the test reviews. I have posted now tests 3 and 4 reviews. They have been, they're all typed, not handwritten, which some of you can't read. Now, first of all, before I have my special surprise for you that I'm also going to cut out of the video, any questions? Well, I guess not. All right, time for my special surprise that I'm going to cut out of the video. I'm going to take you to a chemical plant right now and show you the inside, which most people never, ever get to see. And that's our trip to the chemical plant. All right, listen carefully. Look at the reviews for the general reactions you should know for the final exam. Use your hourly exams as practice problems. And if you remember a long time ago, beginning of summer, I said, my world of organic chemistry is your world of organic chemistry. You just don't know about it. Well, now I can safely say my world of organic chemistry is your world of organic chemistry, and you do know about it. And I hope you had a fun semester. Now, if you came here and liked what I did live, go to Rate My Professor and write something down. If you didn't like it, you can do that too. If you just watched my videos, but you liked the way I did this semester and you liked it a lot, go to ratemyprofessor.com and let people know. If you didn't like it, do the same thing. And with that, I'm done. I'm done for today. I'm done for the semester. It's been a wonderful chance to get to know some of you, and also a wonderful chance for all of you, my class, for me to give you the opportunity to learn my world of organic chemistry, which is now your world of organic chemistry. With that, I'm going to say gang gesund. Remember, there's no lecture tomorrow. At 2 o'clock tomorrow, I will send out an email with the password for the final exam. It's available now for you to download. Please have it done by 11 Friday. By Saturday, 3 p.m., if not sooner, I will get your grades in D2L, and I'll send out all your points too. I'll send out an email to that effect. I'll put the grades in the school system. Now, when I put it in the school system, it may take 24, 36 hours before they refresh the database so you can see your quote unquote official grade. But what I post in D2L will be your official grade. And for the final time, I'll say, gang gesund, goodbye. Have a great rest of the summer. Good luck tomorrow. Hopefully you won't need luck. Thank you, Jordan. And if anybody has questions, I'll hang around for a couple minutes.